Okay, hey, how are we doing? We're going to finish up. Well, we're not going to finish up, but we're going to do one little small thing, kind of small, to this project that we have um, working on our Hero website. And so far, this is what we have. We have a home page. I can click on any one of these links and take me to all the different endpoints. So we got hero, power, species, franchise, and team. Also, if I click on, say, species, and I can click here, and it'll display the heroes that are of a particular category. Here's species, for instance. And then I can click on view more, and then it will take me to the single page for that particular character. Okay, so we can navigate through this pretty well. It's not perfect. However, we do have something that does work. Okay, and so now that we have something that works, what I would like to do is take a little time to do some refactoring. Okay, one of my philosophies when it comes to development is that if I am building something and I keep repeating the same task over and over again, then there's got to be a better way. That's how I operate. And so when we look at our router.js here in this file, we can see that for all my endpoints, okay, so here's hero and power. We can look at that, and species, franchise, team. All of those endpoints are built the same way. And the only thing I'm doing is just replacing the endpoint. Okay. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to write a for loop. Yeah, I'm going to use a for loop. Uh, and I want to loop through the endpoints array and build out these at least starting off building out these all routes. Okay. So, and I can do that way up here where I'm using router.use, etc. I could do that right in here. Okay. I think it's what I'm going to do. So, in order for me to do that, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm sitting here looking at it right now, is this hero count. I'm going to need access to that later. So, I want to move that up. I'm going to move that up just above endpoints. So, I'm going to take this line of code, or these few lines, and I'm going to move that up here because I'm going to need to have access to this variable later, and it's going to happen right inside of here. Okay. So what I want to do is after I use my router.use and then get the endpoints and point them to the specific routes, what I'm gonna do is I could take one of these. Let's say I'll take no. I do want to do a for loop. Yes, I want to do a for loop. So I'm not going to do it in there because I want to do a for loop instead of a for each loop. Because what I want to say is, hey, if the endpoints are not hero, then I want you to create these particular routes. Else do these other routes that are particular uh, for the hero. And I say that because here for, say, for instance, the hero ID, I want to get the hero name, etc. Okay, so a couple things before I get started with this. I know what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to go to my power routes, my franchise routes. Yes, I'm going to go to those two. And I'm going to change up some wording a little bit because I want this to be uniform, okay? And it might make the URL a little bit longer, but that's okay. In the end, it's going to work out for us. What I mean by that is let's go to franchise routes. And right here, instead of saying Fran in franchise routes, I'm just going to write out franchise. I'm going to spell it all the way out like so. I'm going to do the same thing in power routes. Instead of POW, I'm going to have power written all the way out. I believe species is written all the way out, and it is. And team is written all the way out, and that one is as well. Okay, cool. So that's what I wanted to do there. Now I can come back over here to my router.js file, wherever you are, you're right here. Okay. And let's get busy. First, let me comment out. I'm going to comment out hero. I'm going to comment them out individually instead of comment them all out at once. Comment all these bad boys out. And if this works, and I believe it should, then that's going to save up a lot of work. I'm not going to have as many lines of code because this task is going to work for all of them. And that is my hope. And again, this is just us using simple JavaScript. I mean, if we understand how to loop, repetition structures, which we've covered, then we can do this. Yeah, home. Let me get that one as well. Okay, so and instead, again, I'm not going to use this for each loop. I am going to use a for loop. So I'm going to do this right in here. I'm going to say for let I get 0. I is less than endpoints dot length. I plus plus. Okay. And here we're going to do stuff. Okay. And the stuff we're going to do, first thing I want to say is if endpoints I is equal to hero. So if it is equal to hero, if it's equal to hero, then what do I want to do? I want to say, let me do this. So instead of saying endpoints I, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const endpoint is going to get endpoints I. So that way I can just use endpoint here. So if endpoint is equal to hero, okay, in which case this very first one that would return true. Then I'm going to say router dot get slash, okay, take a request and a response. And then we're going to response. Oh, I need my home page. Let me see. That one is okay. That one is different. Yeah, that one's different. So it's going to be slash, this one here is going to be router dot get, and then I'm going to put endpoint right there. Takes request and response, and then we're going to make our fetch call. So const URL http://localhost : pass in the port /API/ I can just put endpoint right here. This one is going to be the same for essentially all of them. However, how it's configured is going to be different. Okay, then I'm going to say axios.get the URL. Then basically what I'm doing right here, response.render. Oh, I see an issue I'm gonna have, but I know what I could do though. I know what I could do. Response.render. No. Then take the response. There we go. And from here we will response.render. Let me fix this. I'm getting ahead of myself. Pages / and I can pass in endpoint right there. Because I called it all hero. So I'll just say, yeah, pages / all hero. And then do all this stuff. So the title be all heroes. Name's gonna be, I'll just say all heroes. And I'll make the title heroes. Yeah, let's do that. If I want to, I can just say, I can use endpoint if I want to. And then data be response.data. And then I can still pass in endpoints. All right, so this one should work, okay? None of the other ones are going to work at this point. But let's see, if I come over here and refresh, click on hero, it says, can I get /hero? Why can't you get /hero? Let's see, in my router.js, so I don't have a DAO issue, localhost 3000 /hero. That is the endpoint that we made it correct. Let's look in our header. And this is why I just commented it out instead of completely deleting it. Okay, yeah, so we made the endpoint. That works. Let's see, come back over here, refresh, and I hover over this, localhost 3000 /hero. Okay. And then if I go to router.js, saying if endpoint is equal to hero, then router.get the endpoint, take the request response, const URL, and yeah, it's telling me right there, it's hero. Okay. And then axios.get is, that is the same endpoint. HTTP ://localhost : passing the port /API. That's hero. Okay. Then axios.get, take the URL. Then take the response and return response.render pages all hero. I wonder why it's not working. I do not know. I wonder if it's because, let me do something. I wonder if it's because it's happening above my home page. I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. So I'm gonna cut this right here. I'm gonna paste it below my home page where I want all my work done. Let's see. Nope, still not working. Can I get /hero? Why can't I get you? Oh, this is probably why right here. Because that needs to be, instead of endpoint, that needs to be what? That needs to be, let's use backticks /endpoint. Maybe that's what it is. Let's come over here, refresh. Aha, there it is. So I need to use, instead of single quotes, use string template literal. That's what I was missing. I knew I'd figure it out. I didn't burn my computer up. So, all right, cool. That one works. And then, so I'm going to stay here inside of this loop here because now I want to do my hero single. So I'm going to say router.get backtick here. And this will be endpoint / and then :ID. And again, takes request and response. All right. And now I want to add this baby here. So I need to get the ID. So I'm going to say const ID is going to get request.params.id. And then I'm going to say const URL is going to get HTTP, and using backticks here, : ://localhost : pass in the port /API / I can pass in my endpoint right here. And then I can pass in my ID like so. And then what do we do next? We need to make our fetch call, axios.get the URL. Then take the response, and what do we do? Here's where we do our little custom thing where we had to do something different, where we had to get the hero name. And we said what? Let hero name get, and I want to say if response.data.hero name, response.data.hero underscore name. If that is equal to null, then it's going to be this string template literal of response.data.first underscore name, and then response.data.last underscore name. Else it's going to be response.data.hero underscore name. So there's hero name. Cool. And then we want to render all this stuff. Okay, still inside of our then promise. So make sure you're inside the then promise. And we say response.render. And this will be pages slash was it hero single? Yeah. Pages slash hero single, comma. And we're going to render this object where the title is going to be hero name. The name is going to be hero name. The data is going to be response.data. What else do we have? I believe we had endpoints and count. Yep. Count is going to be hero count and endpoints. And so this is the particular one just for our heroes. Let me refresh. So now if I click on Batman, and Batman does work. All right, cool. So it's working so far. All right. Now, here's where it gets good. All right. What I want to do is, well, first I'm going to write out the route. Okay. I'm going to write out the singular route, if you will, that's going to handle all of the endpoints. Okay. And so it's going to be very uniform, right? Because they all look the same anyway. So I'm just passing an endpoint as opposed to the actual name. All right. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those all franchise, all whatever, and I'm going to make it very uniform. I'll just have like an all category .ejs file and a category single .ejs file. And so when the user clicks on it, it'll just pull up that one page because all those pages are essentially the same thing. So that is what I intend to do. But first, let me do this route. So here I'm saying, hey, if endpoint is equal to hero, then do this. And so I need to come here, follow that chain, follow that if block all the way down here, and make sure you're in the right place. Please make sure you're in the right place. And I'm gonna say else. So if it's not hero, then what are we gonna do? Essentially, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say router.get. This needs to be backticks again, /$ curly brace endpoint. So we're still passing that in the same. Takes a request and response. Okay. And I'm going to say const URL is going to get http://localhost : pass in the port /API/ whatever the endpoint is. Gonna make a fetch call axios.get the URL, then take the response and we're going to response.render. Right now, I'm going to say pages / all, I'll call it all data. That's what I'm going to name it. And the object here, I'm going to take the title. The title is going to be the endpoint. The name is also going to be the endpoint. The data is going to be response.data. And I'm going to pass in endpoints. Because if we look at them, they're all the same. Well, we have like powers, all the powers, species. So I could say here, instead of just endpoint, I could say, I'll use some backticks right here. I'll say all, and then pass the endpoint and close the backticks. So I can do something like that. All right. And that's it. That should cover all of those pages. Okay. So, one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pass in something called category, and that's going to be endpoint. What do I mean by that? Well, so for example, in my let's look at my all power.ejs, where here I'm saying item.power. Okay. If I go to species, item.species. So what the plan is, and I hope this works, is I should be able to pass in the category instead of having to say item species. And if I do that, it would require me to use bracket notation. So here, instead of say item.species, I would need to say item square bracket category. And I'm hoping this will work. This is contingent upon this working right here. If that works, then we're good to go. So item.species. All right, cool. So here I am. I'm going to create what I call it all data. I believe that's what I named it. Pages all data. Yeah, so inside my pages folder, I'm just going to do it right here for right now. I'm going to create an all data.ejs. And in my all data.ejs, I'm going to come back over here to all power. I'm going to copy everything they have in all power. So select everything, copy it, come over here to all data and paste it. And just change a few names. It's going to be all data main. Okay, and then still data for each item. I'll just call this data card. Okay, and right here again, instead of say item.power, I'm going to say item square bracket category. And I need to use bracket notation here because I do not have a category is going to be, I don't have a property or a field inside of my database called category. Yeah, I don't have a field name of category. I have field names of power, franchise, team, species. But since I'm passing that in as a string or as a variable here, I believe I need to use bracket notation here. So here, this for my href here, I'm going to pass in right here. This will be category, and then this will be item square bracket category. and then just click here to see. I'll just say click here to see Heroes. Oh, I hope this works. All right. So let's find out. I'm gonna come over here and refresh the browser. Let's see, when I hover over power, there's power, and I click on it, and look at that, all power. I click on species, all species, franchise, all franchise, team, all team. It works. Great. Great, 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 great. And so what I could do is if I want to handle this here as far as the spelling goes, to capitalize it, I can come to it's happening in my header.ejs. Let's go to my header.ejs, and where I have name right here, and I got text. Well, I do have text capitalized. Oh, that's why, because I don't have it happening in, that needs to be capitalized here. So in my router, I would have to, that's that's where it's difficult. I'm not going to worry about that, because what I would have to do is I would have to take the first character from endpoint, like in other words, slice it. I would have to then to uppercase that and then join it back in the right position. Not gonna worry about all that, because what we've done, this is good enough right here. That's just a styling thing, more or less. So we got all of these endpoints working. Cool. And so now that I have that, I can do my single route. And so I'm still inside of this else, okay? So still inside of there, and I'm going to say router.get, and here it's going to be /endpoint/ and then was it like a colon in the endpoint? Yep, like species, franchise, team, etc., etc. So I can say colon right here, and then pass in endpoint again. Comma, takes a request and response. All right. And so now we need to get the endpoint, whatever it is. So I will say, I will, let's see. Let's see, I'll call this, I'll say const path, or I'll call it node, is going to get, how can I do this? That's okay. Now I'm getting stuck. Now I'm stuck right here, because previously we were saying like, what have we been saying? Like ID is request.params.id. I think this should still work. I'm gonna try this out. Request.params. And see, we have all these different endpoints. Let's say node. What would happen if I just call this node? Because essentially a variable anyways. Let's try it out. Okay, so node is going to be whatever that is at the very end. Okay, and I'm using node because that's what it is on the route tree, if you will, the very last endpoint. I mean, we also call that a node. So, let's hope this works. Const URL is going to get http://localhost:// passing the port / API / endpoint / passing the node. And then we're going to axios.get the URL. Then take the response and what we're going to do, we're going to say response.render. And now I need a single page, so a data single page. So I'll say pages / data single. The title will be what is it? Endpoint. The name also will be endpoint. And then the data be response.data, and then pass in endpoints. Let me check and make sure that looks the same as all of them. For the single, yeah, looks good. Yep. Oh, I think I missed something though here. So we need to have endpoint twice because, like, say I'm doing power, and then strength, what have you. So I need to make sure I do that here in my URL. So in other words, just like how we did for power, where we had power / strength, I need to write that out the same way here. Okay. And now that I got that, what I call it, a data single page. So I'm going to make a page and I'm going to call it data single.ejs. So my data single.ejs, I'm going to take power single. It's going to look exactly the same. I don't need to change anything in here at all. I'm going to select, let's see. Select all of that. I'm going to copy it, paste it in data single. I don't need to change anything in here. Okay, and let me go back and look at this router.js file one more time and just look at that. Fingers crossed this should work. I'm gonna refresh. There goes my team. If I click over here, I got localhost 3000 /team /avengers. Oh, and team pops up. So I don't want team to pop up. No, that's not what I want. What I want to pop up here, so for title and endpoint, for title and name, I want to pass in node. Come back over here and refresh, and there Avengers pops up. Click on species, all the species. Click on mutant. Oh, all the mutants pop up. Whoo-wee! Yes! Success! So that works. So now that I see that works, what does that mean I can do with this? And I'm going to go ahead and do it because I want to. So I can get rid of all this commented out code. I can delete all this. All that commented code. They worked so hard doing, and we did work hard. I can delete it, and look, I've shortened my lines up significantly by using basic JavaScript, just a for loop. This is why it's important, to learn the tools again that you have in your toolbox, and then you can use them as you need to. So this is, and I would not consider myself a master builder, not yet. However, I know that okay, I can, go by the diagram and build something out if I want to. But then I also know that, hey, I could just take all the little pieces and put the pieces together as I want to, as I need to, and I have something working. So cool. This works. And what that means is now for my pages, guess what? I don't need to have all of these different pages. Now I still want to have my hero page. So page is home. I do need my all hero page and my hero single. Those two I'm going to keep. But all franchise, I can delete that. Move it to trash. All power, I can delete that one. Move it to trash. All species, move it to trash. All team, U2, basura. Franchise single. Now, let me also say this. I do need home, do need hero single, power single. I will say this, especially for somebody who is new to development. I would not recommend that you do this initially. Okay, I strongly encourage you to build it all the way out first. Okay, like I did. Build it all the way out, because as you do that, you will start to find uh, ways to kind of shorten your code up, clean it up, make it a little more consistent, uniform. Okay. Go through the process. Do not be afraid or too lazy or what have you to go through the process and do the work. As you do that, you'll begin to discover some things that you can do. Once you get it working, a great first pass. In the previous video, we had a good working application, a great first pass. Okay. And then after that, once you see things, recognize things, then you can go and clean it up as you need to. You can refactor your code. Maybe instead of using a if-else chain, maybe you can shorten it up by using a ternary. Maybe a for each loop would be better to use than a for loop, or anything else out there. Work it out all the way through first, and then you'll discover the different things that you can do or changes you can make. Okay, don't try to build the whole thing all at once and try to write it as short and compact as possible on the first time. That's a bad idea. That's a terrible idea. Work it all the way through, and then you'll find ways to refactor your code and clean it up. So that's going to be it for this application for right now. We're going to learn some things as far as patching and posting, and then we're going to come back to this application. So if you've gotten this far with this app here, congratulations. You can use this with any database. Again, you don't have to have the database that we use. You can build your own database and just work through it in the same way. The data there is kind of irrelevant, and I try to make it, and that's why I did it this way, to make things as generic as possible, so that it can work for any database, for any SQL database, I suppose, or I'll say any SQL databases that are built in the similar way that this one is. How about that? Yeah. So that's it for this lesson for right now. We'll come back to this again way later, but give me some time to let my brain rest, and I'll see you all later.